Have you ever felt like the world demands too much of you? Notifications buzzing, deadlines chasing, opinions weighing you down. Life pulls you in every direction, yet peace feels distant. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, chaos all around, yet inside, an unshakable stillness. This is not fantasy. This is the promise of Stoicism. It asks, what if you stopped fighting what you cannot control and instead mastered the art of letting go? Perhaps you scroll endlessly for approval or replay old mistakes in your mind. You feel the weight of what others think, of futures that may never arrive, of regrets that cannot be changed. This silent burden follows you into work, into relationships, into nights when you cannot sleep. You are not alone. For centuries, humans have struggled with the same invisible chains. And yet, philosophers found a way to break them. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, did not promise a life free of pain. They promised strength. They taught that calm is not the absence of storms, but the ability to stand steady within them. Their wisdom is not dusty history. It is a living fire. Today, we revisit their teachings, not as distant philosophy, but as a map for surviving the chaos of modern life. In this video, you will discover 7 timeless Stoic principles to master the art of not caring. At least, not caring about what steals your peace. You will learn how to live in the present, release the grip of others' opinions, embrace the cycles of life, and transform adversity into growth. By the end, you won't just understand Stoicism. You will feel equipped to walk lighter, freer, and unshaken. This is your invitation to let go. The first Stoic principle is simple, yet revolutionary. Live in the present. The past is unchangeable, and the future unknowable, yet we sacrifice our peace to both. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others. He knew that life is wasted when our minds drift away from the only moment that is truly ours, the present one. Think of how much energy is lost in regret, how much peace is stolen by anxiety about tomorrow. Living in the present is not laziness or denial. It is discipline. It means devoting yourself fully to what is before you, to listen deeply in conversation, to notice the breath that sustains you, to act with clarity here and now. For this is where life happens, not in the shadows of yesterday, not in the illusions of tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, confine yourself to the present. At first glance, these words seem simple, almost obvious. Yet how rarely we live by them. We wake up with the weight of yesterday's mistakes and go to sleep haunted by tomorrow's worries. The Stoics were not urging us to ignore our responsibilities. They were teaching us to focus on what we can control now. You cannot walk in yesterday's footsteps any more than you can breathe tomorrow's air. To live in the present is to recognize the preciousness of every breath, every glance, every decision. It is to resist the temptation of distraction and anxiety, and instead find strength in presence. Only here, in the immediacy of now, can we choose courage, patience, and virtue. Only here can we truly live. Imagine a traveler walking through a beautiful valley. Behind him stretch mountains he will never climb again. Ahead lies a horizon that may or may not be reached. But instead of noticing the flowers blooming at his feet or the warmth of the sun on his skin, his eyes remain fixed either backward or forward. He is so consumed by memories and expectations that he misses the very journey itself. This traveler is us when we obsess over regrets or fears. The Stoics taught that life unfolds only in this step, this breath, this instant. Regret is like staring at a shadow of the road already passed, and anxiety is like chasing a road that has not yet been built. When we anchor ourselves in the present, the valley becomes radiant, the journey meaningful. We discover that peace and fulfillment are not distant. They are already here. In today's world, distraction is our greatest thief. Phones vibrate, emails demand attention, deadlines loom, and our minds are constantly pulled into past mistakes or future worries. We scroll endlessly, compare ourselves, and wonder why peace feels so far away. but the present moment is always within reach if we choose it. Living in the present does not mean abandoning goals or ignoring responsibilities. It means giving complete attention to the task at hand. If you are studying, immerse yourself in the page before you. If you are sharing a meal, taste it fully and look into the eyes of those beside you. If you are walking, notice your breath and the ground beneath your feet. This discipline of presence builds resilience, focus, and joy. The Stoics remind us, peace is not found in yesterday or tomorrow. It waits patiently in the now. The second Stoic principle challenges us to release the need for external validation. In an age where likes, shares, and comments dominate our sense of worth, we often measure our value by the reactions of others. But Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. To live chained to applause or criticism is to surrender freedom. The Stoics understood that reputation is fragile, built not on who you are, but on what others choose to perceive. When you root your identity in external validation, your peace rises and falls with every opinion. True freedom comes when you anchor your worth in your own integrity. To live with virtue is to live unshaken, whether praised or mocked. The path to inner strength begins the moment you stop chasing approval and start listening to your inner compass. Seneca once wrote, "He who seeks wisdom is content with himself." These words reveal a powerful truth. Wisdom and peace cannot be found in the applause of others, but only within. The Stoics warned against becoming a slave to reputation. They compared the chase for external approval to drinking salt water. It seems to quench thirst, but only leaves us more parched. When we live for others' opinions, we become restless actors, performing for an ever-changing audience. But when we live for virtue, we stand on solid ground. The only question worth asking is not, do they approve of me? But am I living with courage, justice, and self-control? In this shift, we move from fragile dependence to unshakable strength. The applause fades, but character remains. And character is the true measure of a life well lived. Consider an actor who spends his life changing costumes to please the crowd. Each day, he wears a new mask, recites a new script, and bends himself to every demand of the audience. The applause excites him, but the silence terrifies him. And when the curtain finally falls, he no longer knows who he is beneath the masks. We are that actor when we live for others' approval. Our identities become performances, shifting with the expectations of those around us. But the Stoics remind us, the only stage worth performing on is the inner stage, where virtue is the script and character the costume. Imagine instead an actor who plays with integrity, who speaks not to please, but to live truthfully. Even if the audience jeers, he stands tall. That is freedom. That is the life lived without chains of validation. In today's digital age, external validation is everywhere. Social media gives us instant approval or rejection, measured in numbers. We refresh the screen, hoping for another like, another comment, another reason to feel valued. Yet no number on a screen can define your worth. The Stoics did not say to reject recognition altogether, but to detach from dependence on it. It is not wrong to enjoy appreciation. It becomes dangerous only when you cannot live without it. Build your inner compass by asking, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I acting with justice, courage, and discipline? If the answer is yes, then no criticism can shake you, and no praise can inflate you beyond reason. Let your actions be guided by integrity, not applause. When you free yourself from the need for validation, you discover a deeper kind of approval, self-respect. The third Stoic principle invites us to recognize the natural cycles of life. From the rising of the sun to its setting, from the first cry of birth to the silence of death, everything unfolds in a rhythm far greater than our control. To deny this truth is to chain ourselves to suffering. The Stoics observe that change is not an enemy, but a law of existence. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the turning of seasons, reminding himself that nothing in nature resists transformation. Leaves must fall so that new ones may bloom. Rivers must carve new paths as mountains erode. Likewise, Every moment of loss carries the seed of renewal. When we align with this eternal rhythm, we learn that endings are not failures. They are simply chapters closing, so that life can write new pages. Epictetus offered a profound reminder. Never say about anything, "I have lost it," but only, "I have given it back." These words strike at the heart of our attachment. We cling to people, possessions, and even moments as if they were ours to command. But the Stoics knew otherwise. Nothing truly belongs to us, not even our breath. The air we inhale is borrowed, returned with every exhale. Loved ones, wealth, opportunities, all are gifts entrusted to us temporarily. To view loss as robbery is to rebel against nature. To see it as returning is to live in harmony with it. This shift of perspective transforms grief into gratitude. Instead of saying, "It is gone," we say, "It was given, and I cherished it." In this way, every ending becomes not a tragedy, but a natural release back to the universe. Picture a river flowing endlessly toward the sea. Along its path, it loses stones, gains new ones, bends around cliffs, and breaks into waterfalls, yet it never stops. The river does not argue with the boulder that blocks its way. It simply carves a new course. Life mirrors this river. We too encounter shifts and disruptions. Some things are carried away from us, and new experiences are delivered in their place. Yet often, we grieve so deeply for what is left that we fail to notice what has arrived. Imagine holding water tightly in your hands. The harder you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. The Stoics taught us not to cling to what must pass, but to flow with what remains. When we release resistance and allow the current to move us forward, peace becomes possible, and life itself reveals its hidden beauty. In our modern lives, we resist endings with fierce desperation. A relationship falters, and we cling to memories, refusing to accept its close. A career path ends, and we feel shattered, as if identity itself has been lost. But Stoicism offers us a reframing. Every ending is the soil where new beginnings take root. Losing a job, painful as it may be, can redirect us toward opportunities more aligned with purpose. The end of a relationship may feel like emptiness, but within that space lies the chance to rediscover ourselves. Change is not betrayal. It is nature's constant invitation to grow. Instead of mourning what is no longer within our grasp, we are called to ask, what new door is opening because this one is closed? To live fully in the cycles of life is to welcome transformation as a companion, not an enemy. The fourth Stoic principle teaches us that adversity is not our enemy. It is our greatest teacher. Life was never meant to be free of hardship. The Stoics compared challenges to the gymnasium of the soul, a place where strength is built, not where comfort resides. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle that confronts us is an invitation to grow. Hardship sharpens discipline, tempers patience, and strengthens courage. Without resistance, there can be no resilience. Without difficulty, there can be no mastery. To live stoically is not to avoid struggle, but to embrace it as a forge that shapes our character. Every challenge, however painful, carries within it the seed of transformation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words are not mere poetry. They are a philosophy of resilience. To the Stoics, obstacles were not interruptions of life. They were life itself. When illness arrives, it is a chance to cultivate patience. When betrayal wounds us, it becomes an opportunity to practice forgiveness and self-mastery. When failure crushes us, it offers the gift of humility and perseverance. The obstacle does not destroy the path, it transforms it. Our growth lies not in avoiding what is hard, but in engaging it with courage. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why me?" we ask, "How can this strengthen me?" In that moment, adversity ceases to be punishment and becomes purpose. Picture a blacksmith's forge. Iron is placed in fire, beaten on the anvil, and only through this violent process does it become a sword. Without the fire, the hammer, the pressure, the metal remains brittle and unformed. Life is that forge, and adversity is the fire that tempers us. Consider a sailor who never leaves calm waters. He may learn to sail when the seas are gentle, but he never becomes a master of storms. It is only when waves crash and winds howl that his true skill emerges. Likewise, our struggles reveal the depth of our resilience. The Stoics believed adversity was essential, not optional. It strips away illusions and reveals what is within us. When we embrace this truth, we no longer curse our hardships. We see them as training. We realize that every challenge, however painful, is molding us into something stronger. In today's world, adversity often arrives in quieter but no less painful forms. Rejection emails, financial struggles, failed relationships, health battles. Our instinct is to avoid suffering, to escape it, to numb it. Yet Stoicism calls us to face hardship directly, with courage and clarity. When a project collapses, instead of despair, we ask, what skill can this failure teach me? When anxiety tightens its grip, we ask, what strength can patience build here? When life feels unfair, we ask, how can this shape me into someone wiser? Modern life tempts us with shortcuts and comfort, but growth does not come from ease. It comes from discomfort faced willingly. Adversity is not a detour. It is the curriculum of life itself. To live with resilience is to transform every struggle into an opportunity to sharpen the soul. This is how obstacles become the way. The fifth Stoic principle reminds us that true wealth is not measured by coins or possessions, but by the depth of our inner life. Seneca wrote often about how riches without wisdom leave a man impoverished, while wisdom itself enriches every moment. In a world where luxury and status dominate, Stoicism shifts the measure. Wealth is not what you own, but what you can live without. To cultivate inner wealth is to build gratitude, clarity, and resilience. It means cherishing experiences over possessions, relationships over appearances, and purpose over profit. A full bank account cannot buy peace, and fame cannot guarantee joy. But a calm mind, a disciplined spirit, and a grateful heart. These are treasures that no market crash or critic can take away. This inner abundance makes you rich in the only way that matters, in character and in spirit. Epictetus once declared, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This teaching cuts against the grain of modern life, where success is often measured in accumulation. But to the Stoics, endless desire was the true poverty. The man who always needs more is never rich, even if he owns the world. The man who desires little and lives with contentment is wealthy beyond measure. This is not a call to reject material goods, but to master our relationship with them, to own things without being owned by them, to enjoy fortune without depending on it. In this way, wealth is not something that fortune grants or takes. It is a condition of the soul, a freedom from need. By practicing simplicity, gratitude, and moderation, we become sovereign over our desires and rich in what truly endures. Imagine two men. One sits in a palace, surrounded by wealth, yet he cannot sleep. He fears losing what he has and envies those who have more. The other sits in a modest home, with little more than bread and a friend's company. Yet he laughs easily, sleeps soundly, and greets each day with peace. Who is richer? The Stoics believe the second man holds true wealth, for his happiness does not depend on fortune's unstable gifts. Consider also the image of a tree. The shallow-rooted tree grows quickly but falls when storms arrive. The deeply rooted tree may grow slower, but it withstands all seasons. Our inner wealth is those roots: gratitude, virtue, discipline. These cannot be shaken by poverty or disaster. When storms come, and they always will, it is not our possessions but our principles that decide whether we stand or fall. In our modern culture, we are trained to chase wealth as the answer to happiness. Advertising whispers that joy lies in the next purchase, the next promotion, the next house. Yet countless examples show otherwise. people with riches but no peace, fame but no fulfillment. Cultivating inner wealth means redefining success. It means practicing gratitude for what you already have, instead of obsessing over what you lack. It means valuing time, health, and relationships above material trophies. In practical terms, this could be journaling daily gratitude, limiting consumption, or redirecting ambition toward meaningful goals. Ask yourself, if everything external were stripped away, what wealth would remain within me? If the answer is peace, resilience, love, and clarity, then you are already rich. The Stoic way is not about poverty or luxury. It is about freedom. Freedom from endless desire and wealth rooted in the soul. The sixth Stoic principle reminds us that life is not lived for ourselves alone. Stoicism was never meant to be a philosophy of isolation, but of service. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor with the weight of an empire on his shoulders, wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." In these words lies a simple truth. Our well-being is inseparable from the well-being of others. To serve is not to diminish ourselves, but to expand our humanity. Helping others cultivates courage, compassion, and humility. It is through lifting others that we rise. Stoicism calls us to see every act of kindness, not as charity, but as duty, as part of the natural order. In serving others, we live not smaller lives, but greater ones, aligned with the harmony of the universe. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This metaphor captures the heart of Stoic ethics. Just as a bee cannot thrive apart from its hive, we cannot flourish while ignoring the needs of our community. The Stoics did not see kindness as weakness, but as strength. Service was a practice of justice, one of the four cardinal virtues they cherished. Helping others was not optional, it was essential. To harm another was to harm oneself, for we are all threads in the same fabric. To serve another was to serve the whole. When we see ourselves as part of a larger body, every act of compassion becomes an act of wisdom. To live for others is, paradoxically, the most powerful way to live for ourselves. Consider a single drop of water. Alone, it quickly evaporates. But joined with others, it becomes a stream, a river, an ocean. So it is with people. Alone, our strength is limited. Together, we shape history. The Stoics observe that human beings are social creatures by nature, created not to compete endlessly, but to cooperate. Imagine a city where each person worked only for themselves. Bridges would collapse, streets would decay, and chaos would reign. Now picture a city where each citizen contributed, even in small ways, helping a neighbor, sharing knowledge, showing kindness. Such a city would thrive. The Stoics believe that each of us is a citizen of the world, with duties that stretch beyond self-interest. Service does not require grand gestures. A kind word, a patient ear, a helping hand. These simple acts ripple outward, strengthening the whole. To serve is to fulfill our nature. In our modern world, service is often undervalued. Success is measured by personal gain, not collective good. Yet Stoicism reminds us that serving others is not a distraction from our lives. It is the very essence of them. Helping a colleague without expecting credit, volunteering for those in need, or even offering encouragement in small daily interactions, these acts enrich us. They build bonds, strengthen communities, and remind us of our shared humanity. Modern studies echo what the Stoics already knew. Those who serve others report greater happiness, deeper purpose, and stronger resilience. In a society obsessed with individual achievement, the Stoic way calls us to redefine success. It is not how much we gather, but how much we give. When we shift our focus from self to service, we find that the life we enrich most deeply is our own. The seventh Stoic principle is reflection, the practice of looking inward. For the Stoics, self-examination was as essential as breathing. Marcus Aurelius filled his meditations not for an audience, but as a mirror to his own soul. Each day, he asked himself where he had fallen short, where he had lived with virtue, and where he needed to grow. To reflect is not to condemn ourselves, it is to sharpen ourselves. like a craftsman polishing a blade. Daily reflection refines the spirit. Without reflection, mistakes repeat, desires rule unchecked, and progress stalls. With reflection, we gain clarity, humility, and direction. The Stoic way is not to chase perfection, but to improve, step by honestly seeing who we are. Reflection is the compass that keeps us aligned with virtue. Seneca advised, each day, call yourself to account. These simple words contain the secret to growth. Reflection is not about guilt, it is about guidance. Just as sailors adjust their course by the stars, so we must adjust our lives by reflection. Without it, we drift aimlessly, repeating errors and mistaking habits for destiny. With it, we gain the courage to face our flaws honestly, without excuses, and the wisdom to correct them. The Stoics believe that virtue is not born overnight. It is cultivated by deliberate, daily correction. To reflect is to ask, did I live with courage today? Did I practice justice? Did I act with self-control? These questions, answered sincerely, become the pillars of progress. Reflection transforms mistakes into lessons, and lessons into strength. Imagine a warrior who fights bravely by day, but never inspects his armor at night. Day after day, dents accumulate, cracks form, and one day, his armor shatters in battle. Without reflection, we are that warrior, living, striving, but blind to the weaknesses that quietly grow within us. Reflection is the act of inspecting our armor, repairing what is broken, and preparing for tomorrow's battles. The Stoics practice this each evening, replaying their day like a stage performance. Where did I speak rashly? Where did I fail in patience? Where did I live with virtue? They did not do this to dwell on failure, but to ensure growth. Reflection is not dwelling, it is preparing. It is the discipline of turning today's mistakes into tomorrow's strength. Just as uninspected armor dooms a warrior, an unexamined life leaves us fragile. Reflection is the repair that makes us unbreakable. In today's world, reflection is often lost in noise. We rush from task to task, filling silence with screens, never pausing to ask, how did I live today? Yet without reflection, growth is accidental at best. The Stoic practice of journaling remains one of the most powerful tools we can use. At night, write down 3 questions. Where did I live with virtue? Where did I fall short? What will I do better tomorrow? This is not about shame. It is about sharpening awareness. In an age of constant distraction, reflection is a rebellion. It reclaims your time and recenters your soul. Just 5 minutes of honest journaling can reveal patterns that shape a lifetime. The Stoics teach us that a well-examined day leads to a well-lived life. To reflect is to transform chaos into clarity, mistakes into lessons, and tomorrow into opportunity. We have walked together through 7 Stoic principles: living in the present, freeing ourselves from external validation, embracing life's cycles, finding growth in adversity, cultivating inner wealth, serving others, and reflecting daily. Each principle is not just philosophy, but a practical compass for modern life. Together, they form a shield against chaos, a map through uncertainty, and a torch for the soul. Stoicism does not promise an easy path, but it offers a strong one. And strength, not ease, is what makes life meaningful. Remember this: your worth does not come from the world's noise, but from your inner virtue. Every challenge you face is a training ground. Every ending is the seed of a beginning. The world may shake, but within you lies an unshakable fortress. Carry these teachings not as abstract ideas, but as armor for daily life. You are stronger than fear, deeper than doubt, and freer than you believe. The Stoics remind us that even in the harshest storms, peace is possible, and that peace begins with you. Now, a challenge for you. Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes to reflect. Ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I live with courage today? Where did I fall short? What will I do better tomorrow? Write your answers in a notebook. Do this for 7 days, and you will begin to feel the shift, the same shift that guided emperors and slaves, philosophers and warriors. Stoicism is not meant to be admired from a distance. It is meant to be lived, tested, practiced. This is your first step. Begin tonight. The mirror of reflection is waiting for you.